we get you to mute, Mr. Keshe? Oh, thank you.
One of the things to consider when we speak about going to space is what do we define the space as? And what do we see or what we consider as a space? We take a space in our physical body on this planet, and at the same time, within the structure of our physical body, there is another dimension of life which we call the soul of the man. And even though it lives within the space dimensions of the body of the man, has its own life and has its own line of communication. And what we define space, going to space, we already know the inner sanctum or the creator of our physicality travels the depth of the universe, has been the space travel all the time, has a line of communication with other parts of us, be it through dream we call it, or through subconscious, some people they call it, or we have the choice that physically move the physicality with its soul. In a way, we have a bird caged in the physicality of the body of man, and that bird is called the soul of the man. We can open that cage and let it loose at the point of death. When the operation of this cage rots away, and it cannot hold together, and this beautiful bird becomes free. Still, it takes life in the universal dimension, because it has a life. It exists on its own. Or we can carry the cage in a box and take it anywhere. I can take a bird cage in the car, I can take a bird cage in my hand and walk around the park. It doesn't change the entity and existence of that bird. It's still a bird, still sings, still communicates with other birds in the park. And this is how our soul is. So we give option. Those who understand the process of the creation can take that cage, that bird, out of the cage and free it, because we trusted it come back in. It's very much when you have a parrot at home, you open the door, you let him fly around the house, and he comes back again and he goes in the cage. Because you trust it. It knows that's where it belongs to. And this is the process that we have made an option to man. The soul of the man is that bird, but is encaged in physicality of body of man. And for the first time, man knows, man can see that it's him who hasn't trusted the bird to be freed. And it has come the time that he does not need to see the cage to break up, to rust, that the bird can fly out, or by accident open the cage's door is open and the bird flies out. That accident is when we die on the street. The bird cage opens up. That bird still gets freed. But now we are teaching how the man has control over this door of the cage. And he trusts that the soul will come back to the body. Or the bird will stay, that it can create that atmosphere of the home, the cage. This is the problem we have, and this is what we call it different ways of traveling. But to be able to free that bird without accident, or when the cage cracks, rust, and we call it death, we are teaching how to be able to control, to trust that that bird, when we release it, can come home, or can make a home that we can go to. When my children were young, 4 or 5 years old, they wanted a bird, a cockatoo. I bought them a cockatoo. And this bird in the cage was very young, few weeks old when we got him. And we used to let it free in the house. He knew he goes back in and he sleeps there and he lays egg there. And it came to the point, because of the diseases carried, we had to, the doctors told us, this bird cannot stay in the house because it's causing problem in the house, health problems. So we decided that we love the bird. We didn't want to let it go, it was part of us. So we decided, if we let it free, it will die, because he didn't know how to look after himself, because he was hand-fed. We decided we'd take him to a sanctuary, and we give it to a sanctuary to be kept. We carry the cage across a park, and as we were walking to go to the sanctuary in the park to be given to them, an old lady saw us, says, "Oh, what a beautiful bird." We said, "We have a problem, we love him, but if you leave him here, we don't know if you see him." She says, "I'll look after it, give it to me. You can come and see it anytime you like." And it was just like a gift. So we got the old lady in the car, we went to her house, we put the cage there, we showed them how to look after the bird, and the bird was free again in the room. And every now and then, children said, "Papa, can we go and see him?" So we called the lady, we go and see him, and the bird is there. And it was a new home, it was our home. And this is how the soul of the man should be. Is trusting that where he goes, he can make a home for us. So in this process, we are teaching different ways of freeing the bird or carrying the cage. The bird is still there. If you want to carry a cage and go somewhere, you get in the car. That's your spaceship. Still the cage is there and the bird inside. The cage is the body of the man and the bird is the soul of the man. Because we haven't trusted that we get the bird back. We carry the cage in the spaceship. Or there is another line of teaching, which is the understanding the structure of the cage, that you can make the cage not to rot, that then it frees the bird, but it can open up and you can carry the bird is free, you don't need to fuel it, you don't need to do anything, it travels the space of the room, the space of the garden, the space of the city, and it comes back home again. In a way, when we teach about the soul of the man, is in getting the man to trust himself. And to trust himself, he has to become detached. He has to come detached from physicality, detached from the wealth, detached from everything else. That the wealth is within me, not belonging to me. And this is where every man makes a mistake. In many of the teachings I have referred, if you understand that you can put the soul of the man to act with the soul of physicality of the man, you can make anything you like. The soul of the man is the sun, and the soul of physicality in the palm of the hand of the man is the earth. You move it in the direction, you create water, you create food, but you don't need to have it. It creates the energy that the physicality of the man can absorb. We give the earth in the hand, in the palm of the man. He creates what he needs, he takes what he needs from it. Then, if you understand this, you allow the soul of the man to carry the soul of the physicality of the man with it, and whenever it comes, it makes that hand, that palm, 1,000 meter, 1 meter, in a cage of physicality or in a cage of non-dimension. So, it's not methods of flight, it's the method of man understanding his own potential, his own grace. So, because we have so many people who are so physically attached, we teach about the spaceship for years. This is what it was. They still wanted to see they can get into something. But, as I said, I teach for the universe, not for the man. What we teach in the dimension of soul of the man, many travelers of the universe which hear the soul of me are educated, they understand what they missed. But as this is the last time we bring a messenger on earth, we teach everything for mankind to carry. All the rules are in the book. There shall be no more messages. It's for man to translate knowledge. Scientifically, and then through the understanding of the soul of the man. What we call theology, ethics. Ethics of using the science in a way that does not harm no one, but it implies and applies the survival of the others. I was talking about this a few days ago, that there is a paper written by me, the station of the scientist as a prophet. The prophets we call Muhammad, Christ or anybody, are for the soul of the man, conduct of the behavior. Scientists like beautiful Tesla and others are to elevate the same, but the physicality of the man. This time we have put the two together in one go, then there is no difference. We teach the ethics, the soul conduct, and physicality. It's for the man to understand where the two merge and when it's needed to be done. The totality which counts, not the individuality. What you can serve counts, not what serves you. So, in this way, if you are physical, we have given you the spaceship, all these reactors. If you have moved in the dimension of understanding part of it, you have the dynamic system, you get some energies, you put a glass of water, you mix the energy and something else together, you're still the camel bird. You put the orange, take the energy, but you still want that the physicality that you're doing something with it, you drink the water. And for the soul of those who understand the totality, then they don't need the cage. They're the free bird. And this is the essence of all the teaching. It's not different ways of flight, is understanding the existence of the universe. Then if you travel with a spaceship, who do you see? The citizens of the universe in a physical dimension. If you travel with the soul that you can create the physicality, you take that out of the equation. You travel, but you know you have connection with everybody. It's very much, as I said once, it's like you get off out of London and you go to New York. You're there on your own, but you still pick your phone and speak to the family in London. It's not finished. Now, the soul of the man, given the man the same opportunity. We teach for the time to come, and we teach from now till that time to come. And that time comes, is not anymore the end of the world, something will happen. Is the maturity of the one's understanding of his own creation.
Welcome, everyone, to the 275th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, May 9th, 2019. This is a broadcast from the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, part of the Public Teachings in English. I'm your host, Rick Crammond, along with Clint Mulhausen. And as always, we're joined with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who is available to speak to us once again today and deliver today's teaching. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to go?
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers teaching. Today, as usual, we start trying to go deeper into what we understood a little bit more last time and trying to understand more of. And in so many ways, we're trying to get into understanding of the work of the universe, and in a way to explain what we think which very much we call it a desire. Some people call it a wish. Was it the wish of the Creator to create humanity? Or has it been the wish of the Creator that in so many ways, as is in historical books or in what we call religions, that the Adam is the creator and the humanity, the Eve, that through the creation of confirm the existence of. If we are created to confirm the existence of the Creator, that for him to confirm to himself that he can love and can be loved too, then what is the difference between the man and the Creator? We create children to confirm that we can love, we have the power to love, and at the same time we get loved by our children to confirm that we have created perfect creatures. Is this what the whole existence is? Or is this as part of the totality which man never understands? Do we need to go to the extent that we want to be loved in a physical dimension? Or the loving comes from the soul of the man, that he has taught that to the dimension of physicality as the way to confirm his own existence. In many times we talk about the soul to be the leech and the soul, the physicality of the man to be the leech on the soul of the man. But doesn't it, the soul need that leech to confirm that it can keep existence, that it can confirm existence, that I'm here, that I exist? Then if we understand this, do we come to the next point, that as the soul of the man needs the leech of the physicality, the soul of physicality, to confirm his existence, so can that the soul of the physicality be the point that he decides where to exist, because every love affair needs two. In Chinese tradition we call it yin. In the dimension of physicality we call it the soul of the man and the physicality of the man. The soul of the physicality of the man, that the two need to exist to confirm their existence. As we said before, now that we understand that everything in the universe is made of the combination of fields and dimension of fields, the strength of the fields, be it the cell of the body of the man, be it the soul of the physicality of the man, or be it the soul of the man. And in all the teachings of the past times, we have thought how to create this invisible field. As in the time that man come to understand through the knowledge of the physicality, through the knowledge of creating dimension of the free gans, man can create the dimension of his own soul. Then it comes to the point to understand why does the soul of the man uses so many different combinations to confirm creation. Why do we need zinc and copper? Why do we need all sorts of liquids to confirm the existence of the soul? Then this comes to another point. I call this structure of the composition very much as the star formation. In bringing physicality to create energy to confirm the existence and physical dimension of the spaceship or whatever. Or we can do it as we call spaceship structure, the creation of the single soul, which is very much like the Iranian nuclear as first reactor. It has one reactor, it has one center, it has one soul, and it still performs and does the same thing as the star formation does. And this comes to the reality and the fact that the understanding of this, with very much, as we see, as we call the single reactor, is a pure soul, is singularity of the totality, and in a way the dimension of the star formation is the dimension of the physicality of the man. In a way, we have a choice to become a single or become a composition. In a single dimension, become the soul of the creator, understanding of the structure of soul of the stars, understanding of the soul of the any condition which is mono matters, singularity in totality, or we become what we call like a star formation, combination of fields in the process to create one, which is the dimension of physicality, like planets, like the body of the man. And this brings a new dimension in the work of the foundation. In so many ways, if we embed within the structure of what you call a spaceship, a single system, as we've seen with the Iranian system, mono energetic, mono matter, mono condition, not matter necessarily, or mono field, then one can become the soul of the other and then manifest itself in physicality of the other. And this brings a new game, new understanding, new structure. This brings a composite structure. In the Chinese space system, we made two of the mixture of the two. In the Iranian system, we made one of the mixture of the two of the same field strength. Different densities. If you look, the physicality of the brain of the man is that, till it manifests itself in the dimension of physicality of the man. If we understand this, then the total soul of the creation of humanity, or the soul of the planet, can work in that condition, can be utilized to change that condition. Then we understand, would the action of the man and the soul of the man as a totality, as we call all the created things on this planet as being as a man, then what have we done wrong and what we are doing wrong, that there is an adjustment in respect to the soul of the planet and the soul of the man. 7 billion man has run havoc on this planet for long enough, that maybe it's the time for the soul of the planet to correct the behavior. Maybe it's time for humanity to move in the phase of completion and correction. I explained this last week in a very touchy way, very soft way, but I explained this in a new way. We've seen what mankind has done to mankind and to the other kind of man on this planet, be it the fish, be it the lamb, be it the cow. And in that process, mankind has created a new field which does not fit into the structure of the soul of the planet. So, as you've seen in some teachings physically, when we show, when you change the strength of one reactor, or you bring into play a different strength magnet, the magnet which was originally on the table creates a different position, or it creates a different condition. And I warned of this last week, and we come to that point of the creation of the separation, distance. And for this planet has not been far to execute such a behavior. By change of the condition, or by attraction of the other points that can lead to a new condition. It's the behavior of mankind which has created and creates that separation and the distance from the soul of the planet and the soul of the creation. I said we make an example of a nation, and this decision has been made. I warned last week. Mankind is pending a massive disaster. It's been forthcoming, but the disaster is not to create fear. A disaster, it brings freedom for totality of the mankind, for humanity. Soon we all be witness to it, and many of us will not be here to witness to it. We have requested, and our request has been granted, for settling the whole thing for mankind to move to a new dimension. We cannot stand by and see another condition, millions and millions to be killed or put through more problems. For this reason, we have asked for total restructuring, and that restructuring will come with a change of a nation. We've been assured that it will take place in a forthcoming time, and my request to those of you who might feel pity for this nation,
Hello, Mr. Keshe. We missed part of that, I think. Are you still there? Hello, Mr. Keshe. We're trying to hear you. Yes, I think the last line was for those of you who this time feel pity for this nation, and then it broke. Hello, Mr. Keshe. We still can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Ah, yes, we can. We thought you moved.
Okay, I come through a different channel.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay, no problem. I come through a different channel. As I said, we do not have, and we do not ask any of you to have a pity in trying to help or to support this phase, as it will lead for you to carry their pain. In so many ways, as we said, we do not wish it, but they have created it. As I said many times, if we kill, we become murderer. If they do it to themselves, they committed suicide. And the freedom was given and the freedom was abused. Many of you might ask what and where and how and who. This will come down to the time and the place, and then it will be understood. It will be understood fully. We do not sit back and allow these things to happen so freely. And at the same time, the humanity has to go on. The humanity does not depend on a few. We saw the dinosaurs when they passed the point. That's what happened. When we saw in Mars what happened. These are the conditions which is created when the loss of life, damage to the souls beyond acceptance of the soul of the planet. This is something we have seen, something we have foretold, and I warned very closely last week. And it has, and it will take place. It's a decision made by the soul of the existence, and we have to go through it. It's something that humanity has chosen and has allowed it to happen, and not done from anywhere else by no one else. The scale of the loss is in tens of millions, not in a few. What took place in the Second World War will happen in seconds. The totality of the loss will disable one of the most heinous nations on this planet. And after it, we shall see peace. Where they all become one and all will stand the same. It is what has taken shape, and this is the soul of the totality, which is given shape to the soul of the man. The soul of this planet has been abused too much. And like a body bleeding, it heals itself, or it cuts the piece, which is gangrened. In so many ways, it was expected. In so many ways, we have to watch that this process to complete for humanity to understand it. I said many times, the beauty of this technology will come out of the fear of the man, not out of beauty. But mankind in its structure always works through the fear. And we tried long enough, hard enough, and we don't see any other solution. It's a decision, something we don't have no say in it, but we see, we are observers to the cycle of change. In so many ways, as we can rebuild our own soul in the dimension of the physicality, the mankind needs to go through that to understand that he can transfer his own soul in a dimension where he does not need the physicality. In so many ways, in part of the teaching of the past few weeks, I referred many times to cage transferring a soul to another dimension, to another preachers. Now, those of you who have worked on the dynamic systems should be able to understand what this means. you should be able to understand that the totality of the system comes from the totality of the soul of the planet. Doesn't matter which planet. Can you hear me back on the main microphone?
Yes, you're clear. Thank you.
Hello.
Can you hear me, Mr. Keshe? Hello. Hello. Yes, you're clear, but I guess you can't hear me. You'll have to change your audio setting for the headphone. Hello, Mr. Keshe. We'll try to communicate with text here.
Can you hear me back?
Hello, can you hear me? I can hear you.
I can hear you. You can hear me, okay, because I lost the thing on the other hand.
Yeah, the microphone is not as good right now, though. It changed somehow.
Yeah, because I had to go to a different line, totally.
Okay.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. So what we have to understand is very much as we give our soul or ourselves in the hand of, let's say, pilot to take our physicality, which contains our soul, from one place to another on this planet. Now that we have the knowledge, and the man in a coming time will gather this knowledge, he can build a system where he can transfer the soul of the man into that system. In this way, the man, the physical age of the man, would not count anymore. In a way, we travel the space of time in no time. In a way, when we travel across the universes or across the universe, zero time operation for the dimension of physicality comes into operation. What this means is we do not need to carry a physical dimension with us to travel the space of the universe. We carry the dimension of the soul of the man to travel the dimension of the universe, to manifest itself in the original shape at the point of destination. What does this mean is now, if you remember, I explained in one of the teachings very recently that the soul of the man in the center is surrounded by what we call the plasma control, which is the brain of the man. And this brain is clustered by a cage, as we call it, the skull. And this itself has dimension of control by the blood flow around it to keep the soul of the man. All this has mention of dimension of physicality. So with a new knowledge, and for those of you who understand, it should be very simple to move into the direction and dimension of creating a system which creates a plasmatic field which can contain the physicality of the man. That from now on, we do not have, we should not create a physical dimension to travel. Because when it comes to the point of destination, all we need to do is to open this space gap. That in totality, what mankind will have at any point of destination by opening that door will give the physicality of the man a dimension of choice as how to appear and how to manifest itself in that dimension when it appears. Then this door is the door of opening with the environment that you have landed in. How shape and what shape you take is the interaction of the soul of the man with the environment which is landed. If you look at this, this is what we saw with the Chinese system. Combination of system to hold the central mass. This is what we saw with the Iranian system. And this is in fact control of the two. We can transfer, if we understand the process, the dimension of the soul of the man into another dimension. When it reaches balance, it's a copy of both. And now you can transfer the soul of the man into the dimension of the flight. This process will take some time for man to understand more. But in a condition of what is to come, in the knowledge of the man, to expand, to understand the totality of the work of the universe, now brings us to another point of completion. So what we see is very simple. The mankind has moved and will move to a new dimension, where we can ourselves decide the strength, the position, and who will carry our soul in the depth of the universe. You can build a cage for it in matter state, or you can create a condition that part of his soul stands to create its own dimension. Then there is no physicality to carry. Then, as some of you asked, what happens when we go with the speed of light and faster than the light? When it comes to a stop, what will happen? We are part of the same field. So there is no acceleration and no deceleration. Because you are part of the totality. This is a bridge between the dimension of the travel of the soul of the man and dimension we travel with a spaceship which carries only the soul of the creatures, not the physicality of the creatures. Then there is no time of death. Is it possible that us, as a physical dimension of the man, we use this process on the planet? Where, when we are 50 or 60, we decide we would like to put freeze on this, and we move into the dimension of the soul, we engage it, and I will wake up in the time when I choose, in 1,000 years, in 20 years, and then repeat the same. So the dimension of the physicality and the physicality of the man becomes immortal. There is one point that in so many ways in the past teachings we have brought about, and we would like you to understand more. Those of you who follow the work of the Keshe Foundation, you have signed yourself to peace treaty. And if we look at this map, all of you across this planet somewhere have created the Ganses or have created something, dynamic system, magraphs or whatever. And in so many ways, we have created the totality of the soul of the man. Doesn't matter which, with what and which intention you all came to be part of the work of the foundation. We are in a position to create that dimension of the soul of the man, that in respect with the totality of the soul of the planet, we wish a balance for mankind. We can move collectively to a new dimension, or we can collectively create a new condition that brings peace on this planet. It looks a little bit confusing, but it's exactly all the same. In a time to come, some of you will be in the position of harm due to the motion of this planet, might choose to use the new understanding to be not there when the physical condition appears, and return there when the physical condition is over. The choice is yours. I have spoken in teachings about this a few times. Maybe for the first time it makes sense. You understand. And why we teach this today. This is a matter of the interaction of the soul of the man and the systems which you've been taught to engage and safeguard the soul of the man, that in time of change they can re-manifest themselves, not to be harmed. If you choose the dimension of physicality of the existence, it is not our wish, but is our knowledge of what about to come. And in so many ways, we are aware of an accident which is already has taken place. We are waiting for the noises after the accident, not the accident itself. And this is for those of you who understand, can choose the path. Does not matter if you're a knowledge seeker or if you're not. My knowledge, my feeling has been transferred to the soul of humanity. It's a mankind who has made that decision. In so many ways, now you understand how you are able to transfer. But in that point, you do not carry the pain of physicality. You do not carry the pain of the dimension. And in so many ways, my wish is mankind did not have to go through this. But mankind sometimes forces himself to be unkind to itself. Always I said, one of the first things you ever read, it says, thou shall not steal. And we usually steal from ourselves. And it's the responsibility of, thou shall not allow anyone to steal from you. What we call in a single English language, theft or bullying. And we have decided in so many ways to put the books of the bullies in balance for themselves. They'll be so busy that will not be able to bully no one anymore. Unfortunately, we have taught everything. They should have spread the knowledge, not to block the knowledge. Our time and position has been set, and there's not much more time to waste. So those who block the technology now pay for the technology. Those who had the freedom to spread the knowledge that when the time comes, if what, they could at least be able to move on, they are pushed to move by themselves. And this is important for those of you who understand the message. Leave your positions and take a new position. You don't need me to tell you where and what and how. In so many ways, we have to choose between the matter of physicality or the matter of the soul. And secondly, we have shown all options. You can go the Chinese way, as I call it, with the spaceship, as you've seen it, with all the dimensions of physicality creation, or you can do with a single core, single reactor, the same as the uranium. Or you can transfer yours to be transferred. There is no other way to do it. In so many ways, if you look at it, this system, in so many ways, once you establish it, has the position to carry many souls. In so many ways, in the old history, they call it the boat of Noah. Those of you who are aware and understand this, you know how to work, how to do it. But my biggest fear is mankind does not have that time. For those who are going to be on the receiving end. We are not here to create fear. We are not here, we are here just to inform, to read the news. We are not predicting. The news has already happened, that's why it's the news. Mankind is deaf to hear it. Now you'll have the ear to hear. We are not predicting. We are already part of the process of completion. The button has been pushed and the engines have started. The only thing is we know the destination. Try to understand the work of the physicality and try to understand the work of the soul of the man. We have positioned many members of the Universal Council and the Earth Council in the positions to build, to be, to understand the process. And now is your decisions as a member of the councils to foresee the next steps. Some of you are well versed in the knowledge of the foundation, the work of the systems, and some of you are well understand the soul of the man and the work of the man. And in so many ways, I have only one thing to say. I do not like to be in the universe of the English speaking language, member of the Universal Council. The dimension of the whole structure is for you, members of the Universal Council, to know how to operate together. And that's all I can tell you. Learn in how collectively everything works and everything is done. Today I explained in a very simple way the connection and the collection of the souls in the dimension of all the reactors in physical dimension we have built, and the soul of the man. You understand the structure of the brain, you understand the structure of the control of the plasma, you understand containment and release of the plasma, then you have to decide. Those of you who test, and test a lot, should be able to transfer the soul of humanity in the dimension confinement of the system. Do not get fooled by a blood or a skull. Build, understand the building of the systems. Understand what you have built, especially goes to Arizona. The Arizona team, the disaster is at your doorstep. Make sure you understand. The completion of the knowledge is understanding of the knowledge. Otherwise, the teaching is complete. I have told you for a long time the work of the magravs and the systems. I have told you the position. We now understand how to engage it, and you know how to release it. Then there is no time and space. Man can live in the spans of the universe without ever worrying about the dimension of it. The way we engage the plasma in the fields, now we can create fields which engages the plasma. We have moved to a dimension of completion. If you look at the Chinese system, as I call it, a space reactor, we gave you the option of physical dimension to create physicality. In the Iranian system, we did the same, but in another dimension. But if you combine the two, you can combine the soul of the man. The soul of the man is monogams, like a sun, it shines. But he have different strength of his own, not different strength of different dimensions in gravity or magnetic field. There is a big difference. Then you understood that blood circulation of the man is the containment of the soul of the man. It's the one which creates the cage. But understand at the same time from the teachings that how I explain the soul of the man has a specific point that it can move in and out of the physical dimension of the body of the man through the structure of his own cage. Then you should understand more. It's you who decides where and how this soul, which has no dimension of physical matter, will manifest itself at what point. What do you reduce in strength to allow the weakness on the other hand to open it up? This is, if I can explain it to you, is very much like this. If this is the dimension of the soul of the man and its engagement, and you enter a new environment, does not need to be underneath, it can be in any direction. You have to decide if I'm going to open this part to interact, or if I'm going to open this side to interact. Because here I have to submit like Earth to its gravitational magnetic field and take dimension of physicality if need be. Decide I do not interact and take the dimension of the environment of the universe, or without dimension of physicality, and see if I like, I open the other door and I shut this. But the same with the eye of the man. We decide to leave at night, we decide to leave the time of the day. It is as simple as ABC, nothing else. In so many ways, we have to be aware of everything we do. We have to be aware of the extent of what we do. This is part what we are here for. This is what we need to understand about the work of the soul of the man, the physicality of the man, and all the teachings of past years. So today's teaching is very simple. We have come to another point of understanding how to move our own soul, our own decision. This way, we do not commit suicide. We just decide on a different dimension of existence. The totality of the knowledge, now you understand from the beginning. When you choose the physicality, you have to take whatever this planet has in its mixture, that the soul of the physicality becomes in balance with the soul of the planet. And then you create your own condition of whatever physicality has to be in that dimension. Because only what is in inertia of this planet will become part of the physicality of the man. Nothing else. If you don't have a zinc or a copper in this dimension, and you have a calcium and uranium, then only that in the GANs can manifest itself in the physicality of the man. There's no use carrying zinc GANs with you where there is no zinc. And then the dimension of the strength of the soul of the physicality finds the average strength which the soul of the man carries in that strength, and then establishes the physical link. This is why we have problem if the man travels in the dimension of the physicality from this planet. This is the totality of understanding of how you will come and how you will be. Is not just to create the magnetic field of, is to understand the creation of the inertia of at the point of arrival. Then we understand more about the work of these systems, these understandings. We cannot guess the planet we land in or the environment we'll be in is what we observe only in the atmospheric or on the surface of. Because if there are other matters within the structure, they are already will be as part of the physicality of the manifestation. That's what happened on Earth. Every element on this planet is part of the physicality of the man. And the physicality of the man has used it in one way or another, in one part or another, the way it suits him. There will be no difference on the new position. The understanding of the knowledge is to understand the essence of creation. Man will never understand the totality, but he can understand what it can help him to exist on this planet or another. What do we do? What can we do? What's the next step for those of you who are researchers and you've learned everything about the gases and building the maglev systems, building the what you call power units, the star formation. Now you have to put all that knowledge together to find, to understand, to accumulate knowledge, to be able to transfer the soul of the man to become the traveler of the universe. Do not worry about those who lose their physical life on this planet. They have chosen. The last time mankind took himself 6 years or so to destroy 60 million of itself. This time will be 60 seconds and 60 million. This time, mankind has chosen the path, not the totality of the soul of the universe. It has decided to create that separation. When you take from something, you take its behavior too. You take what it came to. I'm going to explain to you something in a very different way. If I keep on taking blood from you, which you need for your own existence, that you stay warm, you can react, you can live, what do you think will happen to you? How would you react? As you're taken from me, you have to understand that you have taken part of me. So I have a connection inside you. So I can dictate the term on you. The blood of the planet is the liquid of its existence, not what is in its digestion system. Mankind has taken too much from inside. Now the planet says to sit exactly the same way through the same blood, the blood of oil. They will understand soon. I gave a very clear hint in last 2 weeks of teaching. It's the greed of the man which kills the man. And the man has become too greedy. Now he's taken this step. When you cut the legs of your own chair, you can't blame no one that you've broken your leg when the chair falls off. This is what we see, and this is why I put this teaching on today. I knew I'd come to this some 3 months ago. And I know what is about to happen in the months to come. Mankind has reached the point of entering the universal community. But it has to clean the house of itself first. In so many ways, please understand the teaching of today. And do not worry what about to happen. Be joyful that you have a tool, you understand it, and you can create your own dimension into the process of transferring your own soul and the others. Understand the containment of the plasma. Understand the containment of the flow of a plasma. Understand the containment of the soul of the man. Everything, all my teachings from the beginning is pointing into one direction, step by step, from the GANs to everything else to the point of today. Then the point comes. We start with the matter state. We create the energy state, and from energy state, we create the matter. Then, would the soul of the collective of humanity, in the depth of the space, if he understands it, would be able to create another station like the planet Earth. But this time will not make the mankind's mistakes back in the original point. It's purified. This is a possibility. And some races have already achieved it. is not just going from copper to GaNs and creating gold. Is coming from the physicality of the man to creation of soul of the man to create another dimension of physicality, not only of the man itself, but of the planet of existence, when you carry so many souls in one direction. The problem with the nomads of the universe is that they have not understood the totality. Unless man wants to be a nomad in the space like those. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Let the attendees know, as usual, they can put their hands up if you'd like to ask a question. There was a question earlier in live stream from Mahendra, who asks, what is the processes to open the door of the case, or the cage, I think they mean.
The process is very simple. You decide in interaction. If you understand it, if this is the surface of the planet, and this is the strength of the soul of the man, then between the soul of the man and the soul of the planet, as the inertia of the planet and the inertia of the soul, when it created, decides where to open up. In the body of the man, we see it in the neck. When you have a different dimension soul, the inertia decides if it's going to be what. We have a test, we run a test at the moment with a condition of the control of the GaNs. And what we done, we have set 3 systems similar to each other. Here we control the GaNs. Here is a natural system. Here we just control the GaNs on the valve. We have planted a few coriander seeds, the same time at the same time in the same condition, but in distance. The coriander seeds are all placed more or less in the same position. And we have created what we call the same amount of soil. I would like to know if any of you can guess which one has grown, because you have to understand the totality. Just think about it and you can guess. I explain to you the totality and the reality. The only one which has grown is number 1. This is number 2, 3, number 3. You have to understand my words step by step. I said
coriander. In the same condition, we have grown corn or maize. Which one do you think has grown which way? Well, condition one is a normal as we do. Condition two is we have introduced a GANS state on the top. And in number three, we have made containment of the GANS. In the case of coriander, we have seen growth only in coriander. The other two, 0. In a condition of corn, we saw the normal condition growing first. Maybe you can see the yellow. I try to go with another green. All 4 has grown. With this one, 2 has grown. With this one, 3 has grown. Why? Coriander carries the essence of the inertia of the matter state of this planet. It's a herb close to the planet. And guess what? It's entrapped in it, isn't it? That's why it's grown. In the case of a normal water, the seed is created according to the structure of the height. Does not need that much to take from the earth. Earth is just supporter of the first steps. In a condition where we put a couple of GANS balls, we have dictated the condition. And in the last one, initially we see the growth, but then when it goes to the top, the growth should be very rapid because it's a combination of the two. Here we create a condition like this. With this, we create a condition like this. But with the benefit of the inertia, because the GANS sets within the seed. That's how it grows fast. This confirms a lot of understanding. And in so many ways comes back to the teaching of the soul. How we choose physicality and how matters which are connected to the physical matter of this planet grow faster first. Now we understand the full process of the work of the herbs and how they work. The process is to understand why and how. And then you can see in a physical matter condition, which is the soul of the man is created out of the physical condition of the planet Earth, is connected to dimension of the existence in the inertia state. What does this mean? It means we were created from the carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, zinc, copper, and everything else. This is how our soul of physicality is created. And its essence, in a condition of its own work, can only connect to the soul of the man at those strengths. So, in space, we are prisoner of the inertia of the planet Earth. We are created in that dimension and strength. Would we find on another planet a condition of zinc or copper that partially we can manifest ourselves in that dimension? It's the physical dimension of the manifestation. Any other question?
Good day, Mr. Keshe.
Good day, sir.
Jalal here from Iraq. For those who pushed the bottom for themselves, is there a chance for them to back from what they are doing, or it's already done?
You got to explain yourself.
You said we didn't push the bottom. They done it to themselves. Is there still chance to them to go back?
You can always go back.
I mean, they will not face what is coming, or it's
I
already
said,
decided.
you see, that this is not a condition of coming. It's the position that it comes about what is and what has been. And it's the process we associate ourselves to. And they decide and they associate themselves to it. We haven't done it. And they can choose. I, in a very open way, explained the state of the two states last week and the week before. The plan to bring so much pain is so big that the planet has decided to move against it. You see the tip of iceberg. We see the whole of iceberg. And that's why we decided. This nation will be under so much suffering that it will not have time to bring suffering to the others. It brings his own demise out of his own work. I was explaining this recently, that we cannot force As they say in English, we can take the horse to the water, but we can't make it drink. And we can put a clean water and a muddy water. We cannot force the horse to drink from one or other. It decides. We see the same game played by the same people who played in 1930s and 40s. Just the clown has changed. And that's all. You see, if you look at a country like Germany since the Second World War, they became looking inward and left all the bad habits. We saw Japan the same. And through that process, they became strong economies. Because they were not allowed to spend on the arm in a way, and not spending it, they had enough to spend internally. We saw the growth of Japan, we saw the growth of Germany after the Second World War. And all started with one clown, a puppet doll. And now we have a new puppet. So this time we take the puppet with the what we call the guys who play with the string. There'll be no next time. Because when they do it themselves, they uproot themselves. And they have created that condition. We are just observers. You know, when you go to a jungle, if you've been in Africa as much as I've been, and if you've seen televisions, there's a lion and a bunch of deer or whatever animals. They don't see the lion, but the lion has planned to do whatever he likes. A herd of lions. But they're not aware that the bird's sitting on the top and watching everything, and they inform the deers there is danger, move on. And amazing enough, the deer knows the voice of the bird. What noise means danger? It's very strange. Watch a lot of wildlife animals, you'll understand this. How animals, even not speaking each other's language, they understand these other messages when there is a danger. It's not the bird which creates a danger, it's the observer. This is what we are observing. Any other question?
We have Saeed with his hand up here.
Mr. Tawakoli, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Saeed Mirdamadi, originally from Tehran, Iran. Question about the...
What do you mean originally?
Well, I'm living in United States, right?
Yeah.
In the 4-reactor mini spacecraft like the Chinese, when the magnetic field is generated around the system, is there any force on the shaft of the motors that are turning the spherical units?
Yes, there is.
Force? There is a force.
Of course, it's a magnetic field. Arman is here. He can tell you, or many of you who've done the test on the dynamic system, you see them stopping. You see them changing direction of motion. Of course, there is. It's a magnetic field because you got magnets in these motors. Is the balance of the pressure between the inside the core and the magnetic field of the motor, which forces the motor to stop. We've seen that all the time, even with the multiple cores. You see one core stopping and the other core moving. When we run a multiple cores, we could see it clearly. Depending on the field force, even though one core is rotating, the other core stops.
That would be one of the reasons why you want to get away from the motor-driven
Yep.
reactors, right? To make them self-rotating.
We are rotating freely according to the pressure with the gravitational magnetic field of the Earth. Then your central field force in your reactor interacts with the gravitational magnetic field force of the center of the planet according to the strength of the load. I think many of you have never understood that. Then you can change the composition of the field and you can dictate the position and direction of flight. Let me explain it to you the way you understand from the past teaching. We spoke about the soul of the man, and we spoke about the soul of physicality of the man. When the field force of the soul of the man and the soul of physicality meet at a given strength, we call it, let's say, happiness or joy at this point. And any fields coming, which is that strength to total motion of the fields of the blood of the man, will give us that sensation. I mean, we are happy, we are joyful. Be it the physical tickle of the body, be it a joke, be it a beautiful flower. Each one carries a strength which at that strength matches, we see laughter we are happy with. So if you have created the soul of your system, then you can dictate the direction of the flow, which way you want to fly, where are you going to land. It's the same principle. Is it the planet which is dictating, or is it the dimension of the man? Nothing changes. Everything is on the same principle. It also has to understand the process.
So basically,
Pardon?
so basically, if we have a system that only has one electrical motor that turns all these 4 units, it would be ideal.
What do you mean by that?
Like Well, there are 4 units that are turning, and if we
But your limitation still is the same copper strength. Limitation. When you run reactors, there is a number of things you have to consider, not in a physical dimension, but in the dimension of the fields. You have magnet in your motors, which most probably rotate in one direction or the other, depends how you connected it. Then you have created a core and a field in it. When this core field strength matches with this and they come into balance, there is no field forces. This will overcome this and it passes it. But you still have another field force which is from the center of the planet having the same pressure. And then you have a one which is in totality with a system too. But with your motor, you have created a field balance filter, like the heart of the man. You connected it to the earth physicality, to the inertia. And because of its proximity, it's very hard to control. If you take your dynamic motor 10,000 kilometers from the earth, you'll see a totally different performance pressure, because in a matter state, it's too far. The positioning of the planetary and stars and galaxies is a combination of their inertia and gravitational magnetic mass field. The mass field which decides the totality.
Mr. Tawakkoli, I have another question for you.
Yes.
Did you ever visited Mirdamadi family in Tehran, Iran?
Where is that?
Well, our house was in a street called Amal that was close to the place called Polichubi.
No.
No, you did not.
Why?
Because I'm the same age as you are. I'm only 17 days younger than you. همیشه کوچیک شما هستم.
خواهش میکنم.
And I remember that we had a guest when I was very young, 6, 7. That's why I don't quite recall. That his name was either your name or very similar, Mehran Tawakkoli, we called. And even in that age, he was very outgoing and very likable person and like a shining star. So that's why I'm asking if you ever visited Mirdamadi family.
I do not know. If I was that age, I definitely know. No. The thing is, Iran is a beautiful nation and a beautiful country. And our root goes back long, deep. And in essence, it's a collection of the totality of the essence of life. As you know, our kindness is not our weakness. In our love for knowledge goes back centuries.
It's a homegrown, it's the root of knowledge. And we have never patented it and we never covered it. We shared it freely, like poetry. And it goes with us. The thieves always protect themselves under cover of patent. The ones who have are always generous to give. And it's part of our culture. And we're always happy. Any other question?
We have a couple of other questions in the live stream.
Rick,
Yes, go ahead.
hi, good
Hi.
morning, Keshe. It's Caroline.
From? Yes, we know, Madam. Carolina Cash.
Okay, you announced me. Mr. Keshe, what is your advice towards supporting the souls which are going to go through this turmoil? How can we?
We are not going through this turmoil. They are going through the turmoil.
I know, but
So they have to sort it out. The beauty of it is the what they call the grave digger is always at the bottom of the grain pit. So they have to sort it out. The problem will come for man like this many times. You see, there is a very simple explanation. I explained this in a very rough way very recently. Dinosaurs ruled this planet. And because they were big, they killed as much as they liked, did whatever they liked, they did. So they created a condition that this is how meteorites, things are attracted to planet, for example. We attract the fields we create. And sometimes we are part of the way when the accident happens. But still there's a reason we are there to witness the accident, because not do anything with it. And humanity has taken that course and it positioned itself in that position, be it physically or not. You see, this technology should have been released 10, 15 years ago and taken through. Mankind would have had a freedom to do, doesn't matter what to do. Why has it taken so long? Why has it gone through this process? Why a king had to steal the technology, trying to steal the technology to kill and everything else for it? And the others have supported it. Because he has to come to a time of maturity. I sit today, I look at a lot of things in respect to humanity. Where it's going to go? Why it's going to be? Is it my problem? In a way, it is. But can I choose when somebody jumps off a cliff? I can advise him not to, but they do what they want to do. We see a lot of false conditions which they don't see. I can explain physically through it. But what they come to because of it is their own decision. We can elevate all the souls. It's our job. We already done. But unfortunately, thieving has become part of the culture of this nation through killing. The other rest of the mankind has matured. This nation needs to go through it. And they have to handle it themselves.
We never forgive and we never forget. If we do not talk, is out of our strength, not out of our weakness. Let me explain something to you. Very simple. We negotiated as a Keshe Foundation for the peace through the USB stick. I was the carrier of the key. Italians, Keshe Foundation, the Chinese, and the rest asked their governments to take. So you did the job. We did our job to share the knowledge. We did our job to share the knowledge with all of you. But it is not my fault, which they thought they might get more, and they went to steal. The process is not that we did not want to give, we gave to everyone. They thought they can steal more. Now, the people who are of the same will go through the same. It's very simple. We say the believers of Muhammad, the believers of Christ, or whatever, they follow the same. Those are the dimension of physicality. They follow through the soul. But we have the same in the dimension of the rulers. Somebody who supports a ruler who does whatever they like, they have to stand the consequence of they committed themselves to do it. Unless you want to change. If a nation is happy, well, it does. If it's not happy, it changes. This, what we see, is what the man has chosen. Why do you want to elevate their souls? Those who want to be elevated, they're already elevated and they'll be elevated. Those who chose the path, they go the way they're gone. We negotiated through exchange for technology for peace with the Americans. We gave them the key on a condition of tea. They got 10 million jobs. Exactly when one president changes to another, now this president sees the prosperity which came through the 10 million jobs. Now they've used it. Now we close the door. We know what to do. My advice is leave the nation, you know what is going to be the disaster. It's yours, we are being informed. Bullying by killing has to be paid for, and the nation is supported. We are proud to be, you're proud to give. Go back. In 2012, when we gave the key, we had no objection. In 2014, when the final negotiation was completed, it takes 18 months, 24 months to get everything to be sorted. And now we see the prosperity. You're arrogant about the prosperity, you become like the others. So you deserve to receive it. I have no problem. And my conscience is clear, but I'm afraid of what is to come. And my advice to all the Keshe Foundation is, when you hear the news, understand it's the time for man to move on. Be it next week, next year, in some time in the future. We don't put the time on it. But it's for a small part of this planet. It's a hurricane, it's an earthquake, it doesn't harm the others, but it changes the niche. It's their problem. Never be worried, because the more we understand about the balance of the fields, we can give as much as we like. They have to accept it. It's not our fault. Many souls elevated, but now they have chosen, not us. You produce the guns and the bombs in your nation to kill the others somewhere else. You have to pay for it. The balance comes. We see a bigger picture. It's not just a small. The plan is a massacre beyond imagination, what you can imagine. A slavery of the planet. We don't let it happen. End of a nation is our decision. There'll be nothing to be called united. If we allow it to happen, the others will learn and will become bigger problem. We take it out at its root, and the root has been taken. We are one nation, and we can take a rotten tooth out because the rest has to survive. I'm very precise, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. And those who understand has received their balance sheet. You got to understand something. They slaved the whole of Europe on the euro. Euro is not a freedom. It's the fear of what they did. They brought us and want to control us. Now they got others. They came up with the spring uprising. Now the problem with Persian Gulf. Then next one is another big country and the other. And then we control. In this planet, there will be one master, correct master, and that's us, not them. We are the creators, and they are created by us. We control. There should be peace on this planet, not a bunch of hooligans under the name of Jews or Christians or Americans or the Muslims. It's got to be one, and that's got to be peace, and we bring it. This is what it is. Knowledge is given freely. If you understand the first 20, 30 minutes of teaching of today, I have shown the mankind how for the first time he himself to make his own soul free of his physicality in a dimension of understanding. So you have the freedom. Never so much knowledge has been shared so openly, so freely with everyone to take what they like. So what do we do? We can teach, but the student does not want to learn. So he has to stay. He's failed the exam, stays in his class. And it comes the rest of it. It's not to be conquering a planet. It's to free a planet.
sanctions, economical balancing of tariffs, bombing, terrorizing nations, everything else is finished. They'll be so busy saving 60, 80 million dead in their nations that they don't have to time anything. They have to call all their ships into the port to just give enough people place for people to live. Then they're too busy. We keep them busy. They chose. Now we see. We shall see. They can create the war, they can create the other things, but the last bell counts. And we rang the bell. There'll be no state of panic. There's no state to do it. It happens. In 2 generations, we won't even remember. We lost 250,000 in the earthquake, in the tsunami, 2004. This time is 50, 100 million. The same tsunami. But this time is a tsunami of the bunch of people who killed. So the earth will be peaceful. We are ready to receive their souls. We have to understand, we have the physical dimension. We have understanding of the soul of the man, understanding of transfer of the soul. The knowledge is complete. But I open every week, little bit by little, in how to operate for those who love the freedom of the souls, themselves and the others. You know, very soon, to carry a passport with an eagle on it will be a shameful thing. Because they do it to themselves. Because they'll be ashamed to carry it themselves, not us banning it. Because we are men of peace. We are men of love. We created that love through the teaching. All of you, you teach, you expand, you share. If you remember when we started teaching, we had a lot of Swiss people around us, and they came to take a revenge. And we showed them more, and we showed them more. And I said to them, very simple word, the passport you carry is the color of blood you created in the rest of the planet during the Second World War. And they left the teaching. They made all the guns, and see what happened. Now they make the guns, we'll see what happens. It's not trying to say we have made it totally free, take what you like. But not out of desperation, but out of the pleasure of it. I won last week in the teachings and the week before. Now we have executed. We have executed the decision and we wait for it to be carried out. The soul of this planet is tired of killing and the murders. How much can a father sit and watch his children massacring each other under one name? When you have a bad one, now you change. And it's the time to change. Because up to now, there was no option. Now the man has been taught totality, there is an option. We created, we gave that to the soul of the man, and the man has made the decision. How many of you as members of the council have made a decision they want peace? What do you think? It's just a word? You have created that separation from the physicality. But you have to be correct with yourself first before you get to the point you get. I wonder how many B-52s we need to accurate 10, 20 million injured, not to bomb with it. We didn't give knowledge to man to kill. We give the knowledge to man to progress. If this amount of weapons, money is spent, knowledge, intellect, would have spent on progress of new technologies, can you imagine what would have been? We don't have enough people. We would have gone back to the time of 100 years ago. We would encourage our children, get on the computer and study and try to see what you can sort out. Because there's not enough population to the growth of the knowledge. The whole of 7 million, 10 million mankind can work for another 10 million years. You still won't even touch a fraction of the knowledge of the universe. So it's your problem. It's their problem. Never worry for them. We chose the path of peace. They have chosen their own path. And everybody's path is payable by his own conduct. The whole nation is paying to build these arms. So the whole nation has to pay for it. I wonder if they find runways to land these B-52s to be able to take. How many ships can you make to hang around in the ports and the beaches to be hospitals and the places to put the people to live in, plus the soldiers on it? We'll keep them busy. Don't worry. You will soon understand. We don't wait 1,000 years. But this time, we have shown you how to be able to move your soul and how your soul will be diverted into dimension of physicality as you decide. Very simple. Don't worry about it. Those who, when we teach, it's not by words. When we teach by the soul of the man, those who heard have done. But the problem will come. It'll come from the east and the west. This nation will be for a long time busy. Very, very long time. You know, we allow the establishment of the state of Israel. For them we thought they learned the lesson and they become peaceful nation. Now they're going to use the other side, so they lose both. You gambled and you lost. Creator never loses. Both the states will go. I warned both in my last teachings. Now is there. Is it relevant? I have a bloodline. My soul belongs to humanity. Don't worry about them. Any other question? There is a request I have to ask you. Those of you who've been supporting us with
cases in Belgium. We thank you very much. The case now has started in the European Court of Justice. We would like you, if you have any data connected, any information, please forward it to the Keshe Foundation website. If you know any of the misconduct of the people who are involved in this case, we would like to gather the information for the lawyers. We are where we wanted to be, and we have requested for a number of government, not government, but nations' lawyers to start preparing the cases for us in the European Court. If you know, we'll open a site very soon, and we publish the names of the people who are connected to this case. Murders, connections with the murders, stealing technologies. We will release our case in the European Court, the name of the lawyers. Everything will be published on this site. And you can just send information and fill it up. That they'll be given this link to the judges in the European Court of Justice, plus our lawyers. This will be one of the most open public court cases. So I thank you all. If you want to do research on the work, there is about 50 families we know in south of France who have lost their children through the conduct of these people. If you can find them, the files have never been opened up. We would like to have it on our case. Scientists, you know, who've been killed, we would like to have it on the case. We find a connection. And so we're building up a structure totally for a European Court. But this time we go to be 100% correct, because there's a very simple intention. A single policeman cannot destroy so many documents for no intention unless there's nobody behind it. But we have enough evidence. We want to connect to many cases to show behavior of conduct. It's not one-off. You helped us by going to the court. You helped us by delivering the affidavits, which exactly what we wanted. Those are the evidences now will be used in the European Court of Justice. Presence of the police in a court is a criminal offense by United Nations and European Court of Justice. And your pictures you submitted, affidavits you gave, has already closed the case. But we need to show a pattern to take a lot of people out of this process. As you know, when we stood with under the Sterling case, 70,000 people, mainly Belgians, a lot of Belgians are in prison now for the same behavior because we show the pattern. Now we need to get the bosses of Alan Sterling. And you have helped a lot, and thank you very much. And a team of lawyers from United States, from Iran, from Germany, from Brazil, and from Africa will be appointed to bring these things in. We have a prominent lawyer from Congo will be appointed if they take the case, now that the government in the parliament has confessed to the behavior conduct. We want to show the conduct is still carries on. And this is very important for us. And the cases of Mr. Red Circle, he's already been told, we've been told it's closed. They have enough evidence, and 25 years has been confirmed, will be appealed through, because it's very clever what has been done. So we need your support, but the way, not just for us, but the whole of foundation work. And thank you for it. We'll fill you in the coming weeks with a website where you can load up all the information and we'll see the pattern. Thank you very much. Any other question?
We had a question in the Q&A with Tariq, who has been talks about seeing light flashes, and but then they mentioned, you know, whether they might be having a problem with their brain or not, and so that kind of becomes a medical question if they have a question about that. I know you've talked about people that have seen light flashes and different things that can be, and in the past several times. Is there anything you'd like to say about that, or shall we pass on that question?
No, the thing is, we see light flashes according to the filtering of the atmosphere. And as I said many times, the red color to me is not the same shade as the red color to you. When we change the magnetic fields of the brain of the man through pressure, through eating food, entering a new environment, or the liquid of our eyes become, in a way, changes its strength. It's like the way we don't see in the dark, or we see. And sometimes it's not unique that only astronaut is flashing light. Some of us ourselves will see it, because we change the pressure in the eye, or the salinity of the liquid of the eye changes. It becomes like it. The fields always go through. The doctors or engineers or plasma physicists or the ones who are looking for neutrino, it's the same. We have to understand the condition, how it is. If somebody starts observing new dimensions, you have to look at the composition of the blood pressure or the plasma pressure, or as we call it, like a tokamak. You create a magnetic field. You change that, you create a different condition to the plasma's observation. It's not a medical, this is a physical condition. The people who go up in the upper atmosphere and they see a lot of flashing lights, do they become sick? It's a new physical condition. And sometimes the torus of the field of the blood vessels and the brain creates a new condition. As you're in a space, you see more light. Your condition moves to a level that allows cosmic rays to dissolve as a photon in the eye of the man.
Okay, thank you. That's a good description, I think.
It's not a description, this is the reality. A lot of people should gradually understand. And this is what it creates. It's very much the way we change the atmosphere. It creates a new condition. In the coming time, when we create new magnetic fields, up to now, we had the possibility to change pressure and temperature in a room. With the new technology, we can change or enhance or reduce certain fields. So in this condition, we see more of the condition of the cosmos. That's the only difference. We have a new tool, and how we use this tool. We used to have a fire and sit around it, and now we have a central heating, we have on the soil heating, and it creates the same condition of warmth. Now it's the, do we need to burn anything, or we create a condition of fields that in interaction with aura of our body, it gives the heating to our body. It's just how we understand it. We give all the options. You know, it's very strange. They always say you can dress a monkey, you never make a man out of the monkey. In these nations like Saudi, they've taken nomads of the, what do you call it, back of the camel. And they give them these beautiful brand new apartments. Do you know what they do? They still burn fire on the floor. They don't know how to use a gas cooker. Even the nation has as much as you like. You can give everything. When the understanding is not there, you cannot change. They burn the frames of the doors and they use it as a fire. And I've seen it. It's amazing. So everything is there. You take it according to your understanding. Having a lot of money doesn't bring intelligence. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, we have this outstanding question from Bente regarding the salt factor. I was wondering if you could just address that in some way. I mean, her main question is, so he's laughing. The main question is that he's wondering, why is salt so important in making GANs and in making life, in fact?
The salt and let me rephrase it. Acidic and alkaline. Acidic is the dimension of the matter. Alkalineness is the dimension of energy. Mankind has never understood that. When you have acidity, you divide, you put energy in it to change it. Chemical reactions, what we see in the dimension of matter. In a salty environment, you take the energy. So you take the energy of the skin, you manifest the soul, the center. That's the difference. It's like you take a bullet and you shoot at a, let's say, ball. It splits to many pieces because you add energy into it. And it comes many pieces. This is a matter, so this is acid. Alkalineness is you take the same ball, but you take the ball away, but you release the gases inside. Now they're free. It's the same gas without control. And that's the difference between acidic and alkalineness. The level of alkalineness shows how much and what material, which is at that strength, which operates itself in the plasma condition. In the body of the man, our body is not acidic, it's totally alkaline. Blood, lymph, eye, brain. And the level of alkalineness decides what matter in a gans of that state appears in the body of the man. Be it the kidney, be it the liver, be it the brain. If you take a part of the liver, say, liver is full of iron or zinc. I take it out, I put whatever on it, no zinc and no copper come on it because it's in the plasma condition of it. If I introduce a condition of the inertia to it, which is acidic confirmed within it, you'll see copper dropping from it. That's all. It's so different level of alkalineness in the presence of different fields allows creation of different gases. That's all. You have different temperatures for cooking. You have different combination of acids to get something. Now mankind has to learn the work of the, what you call salt, what we call gravity.
It's the gravity in the dimension of the plasma of the inertia. That's all. Simple. Now you put different names to it. Sulfuric acid, or you call it sodium chloride, or you call it potassium salt. It's all understanding. One is creation of gravity. When you pull, you strip. If I get my hand on your shirt and I pull, I take your shirt off. That's all. So I can see the physicality. Now it's energy which is in it. And that's what the alkaline condition does, and man never understood. We always put something on it. We always split it. If you create the condition which matches the clothing of an atom, you take it off, now it's free. We call it a GANS because that's why we use liquid to show manifestation of it. This is how it works. How much water you do it, how much you, what do you call, field pressure it, all is new to man. Otherwise, in 5 years' time, the children will tell you, oh, like we talk acidity, how much acid, how strong acid is. Now we have to learn how strong the alkalineness or the salt is, how fast we can strip the atom. And then it's always there, but inside has a center, has an energy source. Do you want to blow the ball into pieces and release this energy, or just take the ball off and that's it? Very simple. It's again use of too many terminologies for the same thing. Acidity is magnetical and gravity is alkalineness. But when you pull, you strip this the clothing, now you have the energy inside. It's an apple, it's an orange. You take your peel off, you see the beauty of it. That's all. You put the same apple in acid, the skin comes off, you still see the same apple, but this time it's totally different. It's all energy. As we say in Farsi, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. From the beginning to the end. The knowledge is so simple. We have made it complicated to be very intelligent. We're all intelligent. Then it's so simple. The problem is my knowledge is so simple and it's written in such a simple language that man cannot believe it's so simple, and these guys for centuries have fooled us. They call it upside down technology in China. But I said, no, this is the inside out. This is the reality. We're all being fooled up to now. Because now we understand the totality of it. When I went, now we are in May of 2019, when we went to the Belgium company owned by the King of Belgium, when they understood what I've delivered, after the research from University of Brussels confirming the technology track record is correct, is the guy sat in front of me with our notary, with my associate in Keshe Foundation. He said, you have to write your papers in much more complex, that this is too simple. Everybody understands, and this should be more complex. I said, I write my papers that every man understands that the white man across the table cannot control the man in Africa in the village. He knows it's more. Now, you see, we got Togo, we got Nigeria, Kenya, the most beautiful black colored skin, understand the whole technology as the professors in NASA and the rest. Now is one race, all equal. And that was my aim. So there is nothing salt and acid. Try to understand.
Acidic is when you give it energy, magnetical. Alkaline as salt is when you take it up as the gravity. You've got to understand the energy of the hydrogen, which creates, releases itself. So it's acidic. You have always associated with this gravity of the oxygen, then you attack or you can attach to target. With the alkalineness, you are heavier elements. Look what it is. You have a hydrogen, which is acidic, which means gives a lot. You have a carbon, which is 6 times heavier. So of course it attracts. Compared to acid, it's alkaline, it's gravity. That's all. NaCl, look at it, the numbers, and look at everything else, magnesium, potassium, or whatever, is a heavier field pull. So when you're heavier, you can strip from everything below. If you understand, like sulfuric acid, why sulfuric acid is so devastating, works this way, it should be very easy. It locks itself to a higher element, but it has an arrow in it of energy, which is the hydrogen. So it does damage at a higher level, up to that level. Very simple. Look at the structure of the man. How many salts are in our body? And in what salinity? It creates a spectrum of conditions for creation of the cell. In our body, we don't have an atom of zinc sitting, is a plasma of it, and so it covers a bigger dimension environment. When you make ganses, look, everything you see is one molecular atomic GANs. Look at, you want to see one atom or 2 molecules of copper. Go to university, ask for electronic microscopes, you might see some. But now we open it, we see it. That's all. It's very simple. The knowledge is simple. They made it so complicated. And so we believed it. Now we understand. We know more. Just because you've gone down the road, a one-way system, and you suddenly find out you're going the wrong way, do you carry on? You turn around or you take a side road and you go the right way. Even though in that path you might have learned something, seen some shops while you were going down, you were looking for all the time. Knowledge is free, knowledge is sweet. It's just we got to understand it. And there's no difference between the salt. If you have a salt, you have a different salt, you have different gravities. You have different salinity, you create a bigger spectrum for different positions. Salinity gives a positioning. The what you call the content of the salt gives you a structure in that salinity strength. Simple. How I answer this question of salt now?
Well, we'd have to get an answer from Bente, and we probably will by next week. So
Next week.
I'll let you know how it goes. She will definitely be listening to every word and trying to distill the best of it all.
When we made the structure of the brain in Valletta, we started with one element, and then we added different salts. And then we start seeing layers of a structure. And different salinity gives a slightly different structure. You give me a skull of a man, I'll make the man for you who was carrying the skull.
Well, we have a saying in on Earth of someone is the salt of the land or the salt of the earth, or sometimes you know the
When it suits us, we say the guy is the salt of the earth. Am I correct?
yeah. Well,
His name
there's
is so humble.
there's the idea of the salt of the earth, and then I think maybe there's also the salt of the soul in a way. So maybe there's two ends of that.
Maybe the soul needs a salt to contain it, that it stays active, that it can
Right.
radiate.
Is that part of that critical part of the manifestation, where the manifestation comes from through the salt, essentially. You mentioned the blood containing the structure around the cranium of the brain, or inside the cranium of the brain, that is like a shell that feeds the soul. But in the blood is, again, it's the salt of the blood is what's important in the blood in a way, right?
Yeah, it's to feel the strength of it. That's what it can contain. You got to understand what the body of the man as a blood or the physical dimension cannot contain, leaks out as a higher order fields. And in interaction with the environment, then we call it the aura. And in reflection, what soul of the man absorbs, the interaction of the balance of the two fields gives the color. Now that you say, you can see the color of aura. It's not that just what goes out, it's the balance of in and out. Any other question?
Mahendra asks in the live stream, when will the day come, as you mentioned, that all humans will be given total knowledge in one go?
We already have. We just, it's like we're giving you the book. Now we're going through page by page of it. That you understand what you're reading, but you can read it yourself. We are not stingy. We are very generous. We give everything. And when we cannot do it, others go and put it freely to give everybody.
Okay, speaking of knowledge, Ketan has a question in the Q&A. He says, we are invited by the state government in India. Can Mr. Keshe guide us regarding this, or can we speak on a different channel on Zoom, or what would be the connection?
Ketan, I am aware of all your communications. I have seen all your communications with the government, and use the same channel. We advise you accordingly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I've seen all your communications, all your letters with the ministers and the government. And if you use the same channel, we'll communicate with you directly. We are aware of it. We are working with them ourselves well in the background, so we can appoint you to handle our work with them in the future. Thank you very much for your effort. I've seen all your communications. Use the same channel. We get all the messages, and we will join you in the meeting with the government and ministers, but we come with our what do you call it, support. Most of the information which comes to the foundation at the right level, we see and we operate through it. A number of Keshe Foundation supporters work in different levels with different governments. We're all aware of it, we support it. But as I said, it's not like before we go public, we do this and that. We are doing a lot with a lot of things, but each nation we support in different ways. And now we have a bigger structure of support, we can do more. But you have to get your governments involved that we can come in, we can support heavier. We don't want to do with little factories and companies and all sorts of problems. We go through the national governments, national structures, and it's much faster and easier for us. The scale of the work of the foundation has changed. And you will hear more and more about it, more and more about it. I was in a meeting and they said to me, the head of whatever has been on the internet and has seen all the things about you. Can you explain to you? I put the documents in front of him and says, my God, they understood. They didn't need to know anymore. Nobody has served us better than the Red Circle, showing the work of their own nations. They thought they were going. You know, people get on a horse and they think they can ride it, and then suddenly the horse drops them in the, what do you call it, in the fire. They build their own fire and they rode their own horse. We have guarantees of a prison sentence for these people, guarantees. Otherwise, it wouldn't take. We will see. And those who carry the death sentence, attempted sentence, Iranian. Iranian law for a murder, attempted murder applies directly. But our count counts, not where they decided to do. Iran has execution for murderers. We leave it to the Iranian judges. Doesn't matter, a king, a man, or one of their servants. You plan to kill, you killed Fabio, you have to stand for it. It was attempted murder on me, so we have enough. The game has changed. The game has changed heavily. We support all the nations. We support everyone. It's one nation, so we are there to serve. And those who do wrong, they have to stand their own terms. We release our condition and cases for the European Court of Justice. The terms and the conditions which we have put our case in is amazing. You'll be shocked. I just advise we have to stay correct. We have to stay 100% correct and deliver all the facts. There's no difference. Whatever is there, what has been done, all the rubbish on the internet, all they put it on, we cut a copy. Damages are beyond. I think 3 generation of them has to work to pay for the damages that were created. And all goes to the foundation. We take from those who done damage to us to give those who needed to live. We have enough to live. It's beautiful what, as a foundation, we have achieved worldwide. Scientists working, want to talk to expand, the governments working, want to expand. Who listens to a bunch of thieves and hooligans and drug traffickers and children traffickers? But it had to come. It has to
For us to support governments, we have to discredit by themselves. That we are correct what we do. Everything we've done. Look at millions of Keshe Foundation supporters. How many of you have meetings? Maybe for a pain, maybe for help, maybe to test. Even if it was a time, a pleasure to make it, you go and pay to buy a toy. But with this toy, you learn something when you need it and you use it. I have a announcement. It's not an announcement, but it's just in a way what's going to happen. Next Thursday, after the teaching, we are teaching the world scientists on plasma technology. If any of you are in a specialist in plasma technology from any government, any nation, write to the Keshe Foundation, we invite you to the teaching. Even if you're Americans or the Russian or Chinese. It's a space development technology, plasma technology teaching. Many Iranian physicists will be there. And we hope to see you there. If you are Mexican speaking, we will be teaching in Mexico Keshe Foundation on the 11th. Arman, are you there? You want to
It's
say
tomorrow
anything?
morning, 11, Mr. Keshe.
Tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Are you sure?
I'm
Oh,
100.
it's the 10th. Yeah, it's the other way there. Tomorrow morning. You got to send me in the Central European time. I'll be there.
Okay.
Would you like to say what it is?
It's a it's a teaching in Tijuana, Mexico.
Keshe Foundation Center?
Keshe Foundation Center. So a lot of people, I hope it's going to be attending that time. It's a time, it's a little bit, it's 11 o'clock, so most of them, it will be at work, but many of them will attend.
Send me the exact Central European time.
Sure.
I would have attended on Saturday.
No, it's 11. I said 11 p.m. a.m.
No problem. Send me the link. Good job, you there. Oh, we have a teaching on the 16th, I think it is, next week, with plasma teaching science we announced before. This is the third one or the fourth one. We welcome scientists from all the space agencies. Even they have to come under disguised name to protect. It's no problem.
And in Mexico, it's elections, Mr. Keshe. So after June, it will be more governmental people attending to our teachings.
Okay, I understand. That's beautiful. We have a lot of things that needs to be taught at each level with a lot of understandings. The more officials governments understand, the easier it is to carry on and link up all the governments to work together. Anything else?
And thank you for your work, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you, Ahmedjan. We hopefully together you and I have achieved a lot. People would understand in the future.
I hope so.
If they appreciate it. But it's been Arman has worked relentlessly to get things done, and he's got white and old because of me and trying to support the foundation. But it's good. At least we have freedom for that. Anything else?
We have. We just maybe take one more question. We have John Wells had his hand up here, so maybe you could finish things off here.
Mr. Keshe, good morning. John from Argentina. The Spanish-speaking people would like to know if we could have a presence in this teaching tomorrow in Mexico.
Why not? You speak Spanish?
Perfectly. Yes.
So I don't see any problem.
Fine.
Arman,
I
do you
would
accept
like to know what
Argentinians?
Yes, we are all waiting for this information. Thank you so much. Really, it's enhancing for all of us.
Arman,
We
are we
all,
accepting Argentinians?
Argentinians.
yes,
Or
we
the
are.
Spanish?
All the Spanish.
All the Spanish, but it happens that John and me was born in Argentina. So, but we have also Miguel from Mexico, and as you see, member also support Ginette from Colombia. She's
Arman, I
living
think
in
I
the
opened
south.
my
I think
mouth
I
the wrong
opened my
way.
mouth the wrong way.
No, we are all together. We are
don't
all
forget
together.
about Stella also.
Yes, Stella and so many others. Yes,
You
of
know,
course.
we have a beautiful center in Tijuana, Mexico. It's ready. It's ready that we can receive hundreds of people for teaching.
Let me explain. Can I explain what is happening, Armajan?
Okay.
Am I allowed?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Okay. What is happening? The Mexico Center in Tijuana is becoming educational center for Mexico or South America, or what do you call it, Southern United States, from California, that side, because it's near to each other. We have moved away from building a factory in Mexico because the scale, the size of the property we bought is small compared to what we want. So the factory moves to a new place in a short time, and Tijuana becomes a teaching center, as is the wish of Armor. All the teachings, everything will move into Tijuana, and it'll be like a live laboratory. It's done beautifully by Armin in past year. And now, as we have reached a different position, we just use the Tijuana as a teaching center for all the Keshe Foundations.
Even we can produce small
You
production.
can't produce, no. It's got to go where it's going, Armajan.
For
it's
them
a
to
bigger
support
problem.
themselves, Mr. Keshe. That's
Pardon?
all. For them support themselves.
We see, yeah, maybe yes, a way, but we'll see it. We're moving into a different structure than a factory. We don't announce that kind of thing, but now we can say the Keshe Foundation Arizona is shutting down, moving into manufacturing very shortly, and the Mexico becomes a teaching center. Italy is on the move to a new position, hopefully next couple of weeks. And all the backlog of the orders and everything else, now they move to a new position, will be covered. So there's a lot of moves around with Keshe Foundations, other bits going around. Anything else?
Is there a link for people to, is it a public broadcast from the event tomorrow, or how do people connect to Armin?
Armin.
Telegram. Actually, we have a group for Mexico.
No, don't mix in that. That
But
will keep a lot of other things on it.
Will it be a public broadcast, Armin, or is it just a private thing that Ursula and others have to?
I will post it tomorrow morning.
Where?
Post it where?
Where you want me to post?
Well, it should be all over if it's a public event. We could post it in all the regular Facebook places.
The best way to do it, you got access to Universal Council link, yeah?
Of course.
Post it for the Universal Council and the support team of the Universal Council. The Spanish members and the supporters can inform everybody else.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
John
That's why
Wells
we
is
established
there,
these things,
Ursula.
yeah. The Spanish speaking.
I will
What?
post it tomorrow morning, Mr.
Yeah, put it on the Universal Council and the Universal Council support team.
Mhm.
And the members of all the Universal Councils are there if they want to inform. They can use it straight away. But don't do it at 10 to 11, huh? Do it at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, I will try.
But it's 11 o'clock Mexican time.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning. What time is our time? What time is the Central European time at night?
I don't know.
Anyone? Sandor is usually good at these things. Picks it up very
For
quickly.
what time again? And
11 morning, US.
that would be LA time?
Yes, LA time.
7 or 8 hours difference.
It'd be 9 hours difference.
Central European time.
So it'd be what, midnight?
No.
10 p.m. Is that correct? No, it goes the other way around, actually.
Anybody? All right, one
It would
second.
be
I have
10
a
p.m.
system here.
It'll be at 10 o'clock a.m.
10 o'clock a.m.
1
It's
o'clock
11 o'clock
a.m.
Spain. Sorry, Mexico time
Yes,
in the morning.
yes. AM.
That's Pacific, 11 a.m. Pacific.
Should be
What
So
time
it'll
is
be
the Central
2
European time?
10 p.m.
No,
Central.
it'll be 2 p.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. Central European time.
Right.
Oh my God.
Is it visible, Mr. Keshe?
Yeah, okay, no problem. We'll talk later. It'll be okay.
Okay.
That is the reason why I've always said, insist, use GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. It's easier.
So your
Yeah.
time now is 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes. 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Oh my God. Oh, we have a good pot of coffee, Armor. Okay.
Yeah, timer is on. So
It's 3 o'clock your time. What time is the Rome time? It's 12 o'clock. Lunchtime.
Exactly. 7 a.m. for Argentina.
Okay, no problem. It should be no problem. It's about
You will miss your lunch.
we'll see. What if it is 3 o'clock? Well, now, but it's in Mexico time. You gotta go to 11 o'clock. Another 8 hours you add to it. So
Actually, 9
it's
hours.
8 at night Central European time.
9 hours.
Yeah.
It would be midnight for you, Miss Merrim.
Oh, really, it's correct. So we'll sort it out. We'll find it. I'll speak to Armin. We get
No,
this sorted.
20.
10 p.m.
It's
actually.
10.
Yeah, yes,
It's 10 p.m.
20 hours.
8, 10
That
p.m.
would be
Okay, we get this
10.
sorted. No problem. We'll be there. We'll be posting it hopefully. Armin, you're gonna open a Zoom
Mhm.
and leave it open and announce it till people join to open
Sure.
at given time.
No
So
problem.
will that be on the public Zoom number that we use, like the number we're using now?
No, it'll go on the teaching for the Mexicans.
Okay, so just let Armin handle all that then. Eh?
Yeah, Stanley can set it up as a regular place of teaching
Okay.
for the Mexicans. We try to attend one of the German teachings in the coming time and some of the French teaching. I try to find time. I know Germans do have they do a lot of work and they meet on regular basis, and the same with the French and Portuguese. And we try to be everywhere. I was telling the Iranian people, teams, that if I just come to the Iranian university, goes there only, but we come everywhere. Any other question?
We did have one other person with their hand up. If you're still willing to take another question.
Yeah. What is the question?
Okay, Gear. I'll let you go ahead there and speak.
Who is it?
Gear Amdel. Can you unmute? I'll try to unmute you then. Doesn't unmute. Okay, I'm not sure what your question is, Gear, but when it's not. Oops, I think he might have dropped. So I might
Maybe
have
he's
had some
trying
trouble.
to reload.
Possibly. Well, we did have one question from Dan in the Q&A about the link between the amino acid and plastic and CH3 in blood. How do we get rid of the physical cage?
Of which animal? Or what thing? Your own soul.
Well, that's the
Are
thing.
you wearing a
Do we get rid of
plastic helmet?
Do we get rid of this plastic CO2 box in order to make the CO2?
No, but are we getting rid of the? Are we wearing a plastic helmet that we have to get rid of plastic?
Mm-hmm. So there's times when we don't want to get rid of it, but we need to detach, let's say, from the physical, whatever that is, and go with the soul aspect. So maybe that's more like what he had in mind. Perhaps I can allow him to speak and see if he's able to say something about that.
Leave the cage door open.
Good day,
Be careful,
everyone.
it's not a wild animal. It could be a tiger, huh?
Yes.
It's not good day. It's not for only for plastic in matter state. I see the pattern for between amino acid, blood, like a CH3, like a
Who's
field plasma.
speaking? Where are you from?
Balisdan from Romania. Sorry, Mr. Keshe.
Okay. Carry on. Start from the beginning.
Okay, it's one question regarding the field, how you encapsulate one field for not interfere. No, when it's not about nano coating. It's a link between CH3 plastic, like carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and amino acid, and a link in a line blood in physicality like copper. I want to encapsulate this field of copper for get out.
I don't understand.
Why don't fly right now with not Magrav, with me? Because I don't learn how interact the fields. Saying you have a copper is for brain connection, is for muscle.
No, you have no copper in the brain.
No copper. Copper not in manner like
copper is to do the red tissue.
Connection between synapses, neurotransmitter. It's linking copper from zinc. Emotion.
I tell you, I teach you a trick, and it brings you back to a lot of teaching. It's not a trick, it's a part. Actually, I've taught this some times ago, but maybe it's not understood, or maybe very well. To be able to understand the rest of the soul, it's like to go or to replicate any fields which is within the structure of the body of the man, you have to practice. You don't know when you reach it, when you don't achieve it, where you can tune into it. Get this like hydrogen, gas in a dynamic system where you can feel the energy of it. Let's say if you hold your hands on it, around it, and move the field or reach a position that if you can find, if you use a motors or if you use a self-dynamic system, that you achieve a rotation and move to the point till the rotation stops. Because of, as I explained before, the field strength between the two balances and one superimposes this one. Then put your hands in front of it. Reset the whole thing to start again, and you know where you put it, where it's going to stop. And try to transfer the energy from the system to between your hands. That you feel it. That you can feel that field. Till you come to the point, then you don't feel. The point you don't feel, it means you have matched the field in the reactor. Then change the, let's say, CO2 or CH3 or hydrogen to something one level higher. Go from CH3 to maybe CH4, maybe from hydrogen to deuterium or tritium, and try to match to it. And if you feel it, you got to feel it first, and then you can match it between your hands, then you know the strength. And then move away and come back into it and see if you can create the same field and you can stop the motion in that ball, in that gas. Then it's practice. You understand the field strength to transfer. Then start with CO2. It's not that you have to think of it, you have to remember your soul strength in motion and your physicality strength in motion gives you that opportunity, that strength. So you start physically seeing the interaction, that you can stop the rotation. It's not magic. In a way, let me explain it to you.
I have this problem. Sorry.
I use this, used to do this for fun. It's very easy to do it. All these clicks you hear is trying to get to my board. You set a system. You set a system with a certain gas in it, and this system is dynamic. Doesn't matter, you motor or you see a rotation in it. You put your hand in a position that you can create a balance and energy between these two. That you can stop the motion of the liquid here, or stop the rotation of the motor. Because you know the field that it stops. Do not play upward pressure on it or whatever. Understand the desire of stopping is different than pushing your head trying to do it. Then you learn it. When it stops, move away and come back and see if you can repeat it. Then in your body, you create a field strength control. Gradually you learn it. Then change the CO2
to one slightly higher or lower. Don't go suddenly big things. Huh? Start with the hydrogen, deuterium, tritium. If you can match that to stop the rotation of the liquid, then you find slowly, automatically it comes to you as a second instinct. Then you become better, you go to carbon, you go to CO2, and then you learn the transfer of plasma energy. And then what do you think might happen? You can do the same with transfer of the soul. John in Arizona has done a lot of work like this, but he keeps on jumping in different positions. They've done a lot of work, beautiful work in this, but it's not consistently the way it should go. So in a way, you practice, and in so many ways, after a while, you don't need the physicality.
Mr. Keshe, I learning moving one coil first with copper, simple copper, hanging in the rope. I moving. In certain time, it's balance, left or right. Sometimes I thinking moving or stopping how I want. Another
What
thing,
is it? Is it copper GANs or copper?
now I moving copper in matter state. I moving nanocoat copper, nanocoat iron. I like to say. I see in my GANs, battle GANs. First, I sense, I feeling this GANs, no power, energy. Where is the first boundary? Where is the second boundary?
How do you do it?
With my hands, I feel it with my body. I'm not thinking. I walk and I feeling. Now I
Yes,
don't
but
feeling this.
you have to go to the next step. To do not use nano-coating and matter. This time, try to use a GANs. The soul of the man is not in the matter state. Matter state is lower. If you manage to interact with the matter in a nano-coat state, you're in the right track. Move towards the GANs, dynamic GANs. And don't do just the water of the GANs. You have to use some composition of the GANs in it, that you still make a condition of interaction. And then move to the fields. Go step by. You have reached the matter state balance. And that's because now, if you look at it, if you have a ball of copper, you have a nano coating on it. Yeah. And if you have a nano coating on it, it's 13,000 layers. So now you have to start interacting with the fields, some of the fields in this layer, and that allows you to do such a thing. You understand?
Yes, but I have also without nanocoat, and I making in CO2 kit. I thinking create a division in one lesson. You saying about a split of division or trinity, and I making when I thinking how to making GANs or interaction of vitamins. I put in copper, zinc, copper, nano, and zinc, and I grow in another things like a jellyfish in size of zinc. My answer is because you have something in environment, but I have two kits. In one, I create this jellyfish like a sponge.
Send me the videos to understand what you call a jellyfish. Send the link to the webmaster, and they'll pass it on to me, because I have to see what you're talking about. What you call a jellyfish. But
Okay,
if you do it, you reach the state of GANs, So you're in the right direction. Then you should be able to move to the next step. There are many people in the Keshe Foundation are in these positions. There are a number of people who have started training themselves. You're not the only one.
No, just say how to do it. I play every day.
Yep, it becomes a new toy. People do crosswords, you do moving of things. There are many Keshe Foundation, what you call knowledge seekers, in the past few weeks have started moving. We see them. I'm observing many are going that way. It's tuning your fields in with a GANs or with a matter. You can step further, and Jalal is a good teacher. If we put it to the next step, and you learn it. But you have to go to the point where you don't need physicality of the motion or separation to confirm what you do is there, and then you can go inside and move to the next steps of the motion of the soul and the dimension of no physicality. Many Keshe Foundation supporters have moved in this direction in the past 6-8 weeks. I see many of them. They don't need to get the confirmation. We have some who actually gone to conversion of the matter from energy. Many knowledge seekers are understood and are working in that way. And this kind of understanding, if you understand the totality, we are made of it, so we can copy, control what we like. It's very much like, I want to be happy, I create the field of happiness. I want to cry, I create the field of happiness, I create the tears. So now you learn the strength of the field of the matters and the energies of them. It's nice to see that you have gone that far. Many knowledge seekers are now on this level. They moved away from the matter state. And I told you, it takes a long time, a few months, till people start catching up. And then they understand and they start doing it, and we see it. What you got to do, one of the things, it'll be nice if you can do it, like put 2 different containers and move a gas from one container into the other. Then you don't see the guns in one, you see the guns in the other. And then you can do it. John did a lot of work on this, but he left it halfway in many places. But he's done a lot of work in that way. Arizona has done a lot of work in that way. Try, if you're going to movement of the GANs, then at least understand if you can create a condition of mixing of it, then you can create and take the soul of it and take it to another container, see if you can replicate it. Do you understand? Is he still with us? Hello?
I'm just having a look here. Yeah,
Yes,
Dan's
I hear.
getting feedback there, Dan.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, Mr. Keshe.
Yeah. So try now to put 2 containers and put a GANs in one if you reach the state of separation of GANs, the same salinity, when you put a GANs in, take copy of the same salinity in another container and move the GANs from one to another.
In this moment is I'm at work. I don't have any guns between with me. I am the guns, but I don't have the battle with guns.
Yeah, well, anytime in next few weeks, it's no hurry.
Okay, okay,
But when you do it, if you can transfer the ganses from the other, then you have gone to the level of transfer of energy and a position of collective energy. These are not magics. This we know. It's part of our being. But now we are learning how to use it. Many Keshe Foundation supporters, knowledge seekers are moving in this way. Because they understand more and more of the knowledge. Maybe next week we ask Jalal to teach from his side. If he can explain it, and then we'll take it to the next step. A lot of you will go that way if you understand his work. It's not only one way to do it, there's hundreds of ways to do it. But at least a lot of you start moving in that direction.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
He's not there today. Many Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers, it took a long time to go from the gas reactors to the ganses. And now it's taken nearly about 8 months, 9 months before some start moving in understanding the motion of the control of the ganses. And this is, many of them should go through the Universal Council members to understand how to do it, to link up with a lot of others. But it's nice to see. Jalal is there. Jalal? His microphone is closed.
I am there, Mr. Keshe, but I'm at work. Sorry.
Okay. Jalal, if we let you to teach part of what you have taught to the others regarding the energy transfer and the plasma fields.
Yes, Mr. Keshe, that will be my pleasure to do.
If you are working in that time, you can record it, then we can't ask you any questions.
Okay, I will do it. No problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? We received some requests, people asking for the Chinese hospital or what they call medical facilities. We hope by next Thursday we will release the name of the clinics, or for the following next 2 weeks, for Parkinson's, for Alzheimer's, and for epilepsy. This is done by the Chinese doctors and in Chinese hospitals. Then if you want to attend, you have to speak to the company, the organization, and you can organize it with them. And then they give you advice with everything. They'll open an English channel if you speak English, so you can benefit by the technology. Any other question? What shall we call it today?
I think you've covered the questions that I can see here.
How
I'm
about
missing
my
something.
pay today?
Double last time.
Double last time, which was nothing up and nothing, and so it's double good. Thank you very much. We will try to enlighten. Do not panic with what I told you. It's the balance of the energy of the humanity and the soul of the planet. And this is something which is set and we cannot change much. But do not be disheartened. It's something that there is a outcome from these kind of things, and especially getting fed up with abuse. It's us who allows abuse, and it's us we can see other getting abuse. We stopped the abuse of children with one guy. We stopped the abuse of the soul of the man by the others of the same nation. And we'll have to come to the final point. Thank you very much for today, and we meet soon.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And that completes today's 275th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, May 9th, 2019. Thanks once again to everyone for attending and participating today. And a big thanks to Mr. Keshe for his releasing the knowledge that enables us to continue with this teaching. Okay, I think that's it, and bye for now.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on Earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. keshefoundation.org/donate. Plasma agriculture. A new method of farming and agriculture through the use of the new Keshe plasma science and technology. Farming. Virus processing protects the life of farm animals by processing away the energy packages called viruses. Increase in fishery and farming products. Create the optimal conditions for farming to thrive. Reduction in growth time. The plants grow faster and stronger. Reduction in harvesting time. The earlier maturity time for harvest allows farmers multiple harvests per season. Extension of the shelf life of agricultural products. Increase in grain protein content without interfering with seed genes. Environment. Reduction of chemical agriculture inputs. No more fertilizers or pesticides. Progressive reduction of land nitrites and chemical contaminants clean and restore the environment. Decontamination of agricultural water from poison and metals. Health through food. Reduction in the use of chemical fertilizers or antibiotics in farming practices. Food nutrients in the crops are kept without the use of genetic modification. Improved health for people and environment. Plasma culture. Using the Keshe plasma science and technology, the environment creates and provides to the plants exactly what and how much they need to prosper. Reduction in use of groundwater in agricultural systems. As the energy is absorbed from the environment, a plant does not need that much water to create its own food and energy to grow. Greater crop tolerance to temperature variation. The possibility to grow crops in any climate at any time of the year. Non-GMO. Use of the newly discovered natural state of matter known as GANS plasma water. Allow the natural growth and development of agricultural products. Use of non-GMO agriculture process, proven through governmental tests. Financial security for farmers. Simplify the methods and processes requiring less effort from farmers. More than 30% increase in crop yields. Increase in income for farmers. Global change. Eliminate famine worldwide. Increase national and global food security. Contact us. Visit our website for the brochure in your language.
Plasma products found at keshefoundation.org/store. Soothing, reusable plasma eye and migraine mask. Eliminate eye fatigue and relieve stress in eye area. European certified medical device. Massaging plasma insoles. Bring comfort back to your feet and energize your legs. European CE certified medical device. Antiseptic plasma liquid hand soap. Promotes well-being and relaxation with protective plasma formula. CE certified. One Soul Plasma T-shirt. GAN's formula within the symbols and stripes brings mind, soul, and body into balance. European certified. Pain Relief Pen. Emits a concentrated plasma field at point of pain, efficient up to 3 centimeters below the skin. CE certified. The Magrav's Energizer and Alkalizer raises pH and energizes water through magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Pain Relief Pad, a result of years of research in nanoplasma technology with magnetic and gravitational fields. CE certified medical device. Visit the online store at keshefoundation.org/store or find a distributor near you. Tax and shipping not included.